Last time, the elven princess Lapis dropped the line, "Starting today, I'm living here," and Hero turned to stone. And this time, the moving truck actually pulls up at his front door. Lapis hasn't come alone. Behind her stand a full 12 elven archers, with luggage piled up like a small mountain. The classic pushy beautiful girl forces her way in development has landed squarely on Hero's head. Hero explains with a pained face. This mansion really is absurdly large, and he lives in it completely alone. The Sanjo family name will pass to his sister Rei anyway, so the place was always far too empty for him. He spreads out the estate map. His own room, the annex for live-in staff, and more spare rooms than anyone could count. If you asked whether it could hold a dozen elves, honestly, it could. Just as he wishes he had someone to vent to, another truck comes barreling in. Extra luggage coming through, anyone who doesn't move gets run over. The elves drive like maniacs. Hero screams internally. Nobody ever said he wanted to live with a pack of elf beauties. The elves settle in while touring the place, critiquing the famous paintings on the walls. Then someone points at one of them. "Isn't the art style on this one totally different? Kinda anime-ish." That, of course, is Hero's treasured poster of his goddess. Hero responds with total sincerity. "So you're finally willing to face the artwork the gods themselves created?" Elsewhere, Hito looks around. By rights, Lapis should have another bodyguard besides the archers. Yet he hasn't caught a single glimpse of her this whole time. Where on earth is she? Before he can finish that thought, a call comes from the direction of the bath. "Mr. Hito, are we out of shampoo?" He pushes the door open to find a room full of elves, wearing nothing but towels. "You'll get yelled at coming out like that." "Much obliged." Absolute chaos. The elves gossip among themselves. Intel says this man is quite the womanizer. But that girl did let him through. He seems a lot less shady than the rumors, no? And in a corner none of them can see, a hooded figure quietly watches Hito. "Hito," Lapis calls him over, saying she needs his help, and wants to get the house rules straight while she's at it. Her request is a headache. She wants a room with tatami, but she can't sleep without a bed. And the one room that happens to satisfy both conditions is Hito's own, in the corner of the second floor. So she proposes, "Let's trade rooms, shall we?" Hito's answer is to bolt. By the time Lapis notices, "Huh? Hito?" He's long gone. He's outside, repeatedly casting body enhancement, turning his escape into magic training. He goes sprinting across rooftops, howling as he runs. What kind of development is this? This is straight up an adult game. This is literally the opening of an adult game. Run ragged. He slumps onto a park bench, blank-faced. Where did the Yuri go? Why does every event revolve around a man? He recalls Lapis saying, "If we live together, we can have our match anytime." And his head just spins. But he sets that aside. The real problem is this. If Lapis is moving in, then besides the elven archers, that one should be coming too. The scene cuts to a Japanese sword. Alarms go off in Hero's head. He never saw her on moving day. If she only arrives today, then he'll run into her at dinner, and that would be very bad. Because when meeting that one for the first time, it is absolutely essential to go through Lapis and present a friendly relationship. He works out a plan, loop back along his running course, and get home before dinner. Meanwhile, Lapis is out looking for him. Go find Hero. He just vanished all of a sudden. Running along, Hero thinks, then again, maybe she'll be the one to come to me. Anyway, if I end up making contact with her without Lapis around. He doesn't finish the thought. A figure is already standing behind him. You would be the strong one who defeated Lapis, yes? She speaks without hurry. However low your score in stats may be, if you're an opponent that stubborn girl acknowledged with her own mouth, then you're worth measuring by the strongest. Me. Hiro Sanjo, in you I have uninterest. Astamir Krula Kilresia, Lapis's other bodyguard, her master, and the strongest warrior of the Elven nation's temple capital of light has arrived. In Esco, she's a support character who only joins briefly during the early part of Lapis's route. And in the flashback, the original hero tries to butt in with a "let me join too," and is cut down in the very next panel. Her assessment of him, merely a gnat buzzing toward the princess with filthy intentions. Mercy is unnecessary. She appears rarely, but every single time she executes Hero without hesitation, which earned her the player nickname the Condemner, and enormous popularity. And now, the single worst possible person for Hero is standing right in front of him. "Then let's have a bout right away," she says, smiling. Hero waves his hands frantically. "Wait, that was a fluke. I swapped out Miss Lapis's conductor. Borrowed it. That's the only reason I won." "Take your stance." Her tone carries no inflection whatsoever. Hero freezes on the spot. This killing intent is real, and it is on a completely different level from every opponent he has faced so far. At the last possible instant, he fires off enhancement projection and barely twists away. The bench behind him splits cleanly in two. A heartbeat slower, and that would have been me. Cold sweat pours off him. What's more terrifying, the thing she just used to cut that bench in half was a tree branch she picked up off the ground. "So you can dodge even that?" She raises an eyebrow slightly. "In that case, I suppose I may draw my blade." Here's a classic question among Esco players. Who is the strongest in this world? The answer is nearly unanimous. Astamir. Elves generally excel in magic power and agility, and specialize at range, while close combat is their weak point, due to low stamina and strength. Astamir, however, has every single stat maxed out, ranked first among the entire cast, with not 1 millimeter of opening in combat. A textbook broken character. Next, Hero tries his old trick, and goes for her conductor. Unlike Lapis, cheap tricks won't work on. She brushes it aside effortlessly, then remarks, "That's hardly a move meant for a warm-up." Hero barely manages to block with the Kuki Masamune. What kind of guard is that supposed to be? Astamir, however, nods in satisfaction. Up to this point, full marks. The warm-up ends here. She sheathes the blade and settles into an EI stance, eyes bright with delight. "Now then, how will you handle this one?" Hero's response is to turn and sprint, wailing, "Wah, I'm gonna die." His judgment is clear-headed though. The EI stance means she's serious, and meeting it head-on means dying in one hit. This battle maniac won't listen to a word, so surrender isn't even an option. He can't win and he can't lose, which leaves exactly one path: escape without ever being defeated. The next second, she's directly in front of him. A warp conductor. Hero loses it. Melee characters aren't allowed to teleport. That's cheating. Then he steadies himself. Complaining to someone with cheat powers is pointless. If he can't escape either way, all that's left is to slip under that single flash. And the one path to survival lies in this. The strongest is, right now, still holding back. Because the thing in her hand isn't a magic catalyst device at all. It's a perfectly ordinary Japanese sword. Which means, as long as she refuses to use a catalyst, she cannot completely block his magic. He chants at once: generate, orb, attribute, light, manipulate, burst, light orb. A blinding flash erupts in front of her. She grunts, yet still swings on instinct alone, and Hero dodges by the barest margin. Flash bang. Successful, he shouts. If you can't aim, you can't cut what you're aiming at. The strike lands on empty air and blows the ground to pieces. Astamir, of all things, sounds impressed. Magnificent, to throw out a blinding flash at the very brink of death. Only, Hero's grip slips and his sword clatters to the ground. She apologizes with a laugh. "I was so surprised I put a bit too much force into it." Hero howls internally. Weapons? Magic? A cheat character has nothing to do with tools. but she offers a serious appraisal. Splendid. I even used EI, and that's all I managed to cut. Hiro blinks. Huh? What do you mean? Only then does he notice the line of blood drawn across his cheek. That strike had merely grazed him. You answered me with everything you had. Astamir slowly raises her hand. Then it's only right that I answer with everything as well. Hiro's pupils shrink. No way. She isn't actually going to use a magic catalyst device. A string of light forms between her fingers, and she begins to chant softly. Let me sing of longing long since past. The chant continues. The lid of heaven has closed. The death of this world has been sung. The realm of man is woven through. I swear upon my nation. I pledge upon my friends. I hold my creed in this hand. Come, let us all sing. Sing together. A bit of background here. At a certain event in the game, Astamir departs from the party, and that special magic catalyst device of hers is inherited by Lapis. The lamp of the temple capital of light resides within it. O my forebears! O archer of 10,000 leagues! O antiquity beyond all grasp! Be gathered into my arms and guide me. That is Astamir's magic catalyst device. Covered in blood, Hiro has just one thought left. There's nothing more he can do. All he can do is bet on her showing up. The treasure bow, crimson sky blazing blossom, blazes into being in her hands. Hiro goes pale. Ah, yeah, this is really bad. Astamir. Lapis arrives just in time and cuts her off sharply. Not only do you refuse to show your face to me, you draw the treasure bow in a place like this? Have you lost your mind? Astamir startles. Lapis, why are you here? Lapis says exasperated. Hiro vanished all of a sudden, so she went out looking for him and thought to check the running course, and walked straight into this. So, why exactly did you take out the treasure bow? Astamir laughs weakly. Haha, well you see, I simply got a little carried away. Lapis snaps. This is not something you take out and play with on a whim. Only now does Hiro let out a breath, and he announces smugly. That was my trump card. Lapis is baffled. The truth is this. From the very start he bet that if he suddenly disappeared, Lapis would come looking for him. That's why he defended for his life and clung on, buying time. I won my bet, and I escaped to the end. Hiro wipes the blood off his face. And in front of your master, you have no choice but to stand down. Astamir's eyes widen in realization. I see, so that's how it was. And then, of all things, she bursts into cheerful laughter. I lost, didn't I? Me. You got one over on me, and after I even pulled out the treasure bow. When the laughter fades, her gaze changes. Hiro, you have far exceeded my imagination. You possess a rare talent, one that may well surpass me someday. Hiro smiles wryly. Pretty sure a cheat character is still out of reach, though. But she slowly extends her hand. And so, won't you become my disciple? Hiro's brain stops entirely. Huh? Beside them, Lapis explodes. Also, your faces are way too close. And just like that, the rats keep piling up one after another.